have business experts from Swiggy who will be joining us, and they walk you through important aspect and features which you can make use of and grow eventually. Today we have with us Shrikant. He's a business expert who joined Swiggy and has been working on multiple problem statements that restaurant partner face, has worked closely with the technology team and the engineering team in solutionizing and bringing solutions for them. Shrikant was also part of Swiggy Catalyst before, where he picked up an important feature called Shoot Easy. Today he's back again to give you more insights on menu dashboard. Welcome back, Shrikant. Shrikant, we can't hear you.
Hi, Shweta. Thank you so much.
Hi.
Hey,
All right. Shrikant, you were saying something? Got it. Okay. So, Shrikant, last time that you were here with us, you'd spoken in detail about having high quality images in the menu and how Shoot Easy can really make that, easier for partners. They can use Shoot Easy app, and with high images, there's an incremental growth in the orders that partners can expect. So today we are talking about, yes, an important aspect of menu quality. And Shrikant, honestly, before I ask you any more questions, I have a small question for all the partners who joined us today. Partners, we'd like to understand, what do you think are certain elements which are important for a menu, right? So there'll be a poll that will flash on your screen. Go ahead and let us know, what do you think are certain elements which are important in a menu, um, besides images is something that we've spoken, but what do you think are important elements? The poll is right on the screen. Go ahead and punch your answers. We'll give it about 15 to 20 seconds for you to give your answers. Got it. So we've received good number of responses, Shrikant, and from all the options that we had presented to the partners, what we see is about 64% of them feel all the elements like combos, add-ons, having required categories, descriptions, everything is important. And the second highest option that was chosen was combos. So today, Shrikant, when we see these answers, there have been questions from Christopher, Amir, Ramdas, Vibhu also on, around how can we improve the menu quality and what determines these menu quality today? Is there any dashboard in Swiggy that can help us refine this more?
yes, Shweta, absolutely. And that's something which we'll be covering in detail in today's webinar, right? Meanwhile, I think just to sort of reflect on the poll, and we saw a lot of restaurant partners say what's really important for a menu quality, right? Just to sort of reflect that answer again, I have two menus that we can look at, right? So this is restaurant one, where you see a sort of simple menu with not many images, with very few categories. Let's look at menu two on the other hand, right? You see three images here. You have a lot of best-selling categories. You have detailed descriptions written for most of the items. You have good quality images, and you also have some add-ons, right? So this is obviously a more appealing menu for customers, right? And obviously, any customer would probably prefer to order from restaurant two over restaurant one, which I think most restaurant partners have also reflected in their poll as well, right? So absolutely. So if now that we know that these are the very important elements that go into a menu and improve their quality, Swiggy has come up with something called the menu score, which provides a very objective number or a score for each restaurant as a measure of their menu quality, right? And there are multiple menu parameters like we've just touched upon. And the menu score basically takes into account all the most important parameters, and therefore gives each restaurant a score out of 100, using which the restaurant can immediately understand the quality of their meal.
Got it. Got it. All right. So with this, Shrikant, how can a good quality menu, like you spoke about various elements that makes a menu very good in quality. But how does a good quality menu help restaurants grow today?
Yeah, that's a good question, Beta. So, see, a good quality menu can help in improving conversions. So, what does conversions mean? Very simply, it means the number of customers who have landed on a particular restaurant's menu. A good quality menu will obviously help a higher percentage or a higher share of these customers to move to the next stage, which is the cart, and that's the metric that we can use, which is called M2C, basically menu to cart conversions. Right? So having a good quality menu will improve the probability that a customer actually moves to the cart, adds an item to the cart, and eventually places an order. Of course, there are other benefits to having a good quality menu as well. For example, you can also improve the overall order value, or AOV as we call, average order value. So this is also something that will greatly help restaurants.
Got it, got it. So interesting, right? Shrikant, you mentioned about menu score dashboard, which sort of indicates the quality of the menu, and you've also very clearly pointed out how does a good quality menu helps in growth, right? So before I ask you any more questions, Shrikant, there's another poll that we have for partners today, and we'd like to understand that when we're talking about menu quality, right? When we're talking about various elements and parameters in menu quality, what are certain insights that they expect from Swiggy on the menu, about the menu quality or about menu dashboard? What are certain inputs that they think if they could receive from Swiggy would actually make their life easier? So, partners, there is a question right there on your screen. Go ahead and see what are these options that you feel if you got information on, from Swiggy would really help you in improving your menu quality and in overall growth. So we started getting responses here. We'll wait for another 15 to 20 seconds, partners. Go ahead and share your options or your answers here. So interestingly, Shrikant, there's one option which is a score winner, which is like 49%. The option that partners think that really will help them. The option is which element should I focus on to improve menu quality? This option single-handedly has highest percentage, followed by equal distribution more or less for how are my competitors performing on menu quality scores and what will my business impact be, right? If I improve my menu quality. So while these are certain things that partners really feel could help them grow, is there anything that can help partners today via Swiggy, for these options, or does menu dashboard really help partners with
Yeah.
these insights?
Yeah, I think the results of the poll, while the first option did get the maximum, I think the best part about the menu score dashboard that we offer to partners today, it solves all three of the requirements that the partners had quoted. So not only does the dashboard have very sharp and specific insights on which element or which aspect of their menu they need to work upon and they need to improve, right? It also gives them a flavor of how their menu is faring with regards to the overall competition or other restaurants in that particular city and so on, right? And of course, in order to even further help restaurant partners understand the business impact, right, of taking these decisions on their menu, we've also given an estimate of how the restaurant can perhaps grow conversions and consequently grow their business if they, of course, act upon the recommendations that are given in the menu score dashboard.
Got it. So, interesting, right? The entire segment of the concerns that partners had shown, saying these are certain things we require, and I think Menu Dashboard solves all of them, not just one. So, how can partners access this dashboard today?
Yeah. So I think that's a good question, Faiza. So rather than just explaining, let me also share my screen and showcase the dashboard to everyone, right? But first things first, in order to view the menu score dashboard, partners will actually have to sign up and get access to the menu score dashboard, which is a part of a set of dashboards that Swiggy offers to restaurants called restaurants as part of the restaurant facing dashboard. Right? I think all partners who have signed up for the webinar might have gotten an email link with instructions on how to log in, how to get access and do the first time login, right? So once that process is completed from the restaurant partners end, then they can go ahead and log in and view the menu score dashboard, right? So just to sort of reiterate, restaurant partners, some of you may have already gotten access to the restaurant facing dashboard and the menu dashboard, and you may have seen it in the past. For those who have not, you would have received an email. In case you have not received an email with the instructions, please reach out to your Swiggy POC or write an email to pbirestsupport@swiggy.in. We'll also just put in the email ID here in the chat so that all of you are well aware. Right? So once this process of first time login is completed, I'll just show you how you can get access, right, to the dashboard. Just give me a yeah. Yeah, I hope this is visible.
Yeah, it is, Rishika.
Yeah. So once you log in, right, once after you completed the initial setup phase and getting access, so when you log into the restaurant facing dashboard, these are the tabs or different dashboards that you will see in the left. As you can see, the fourth option here is the menu score dashboard, and once you click on that, you'll have the different sub tabs that you can access. Right? Now, let me quickly switch over to the actual dashboard and show you live on how you can use this. Yeah, is my dashboard visible?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, great. Right, so let me very quickly walk you through the basic elements of the dashboard without getting into details first. Right? So as you can see, there are four different sub links that you can click. One is the brand menu health summary, then is a restaurant level menu recommendations, and of course you have a glossary which helps you understand the different definitions and terminologies, and a basic how to use section which will help you navigate the dashboard. So on the brand menu health summary, you will be able to see a very quick overview of the entire portfolio of restaurants that you have. Right? A lot of our restaurant partners have multiple outlets under their brand. So the first thing you can see on top is a brand menu score, which is a menu score for the entire set of outlets that you have. And of course, a quick snapshot of your different outlets, which location, which city they are, and so on is provided here. If you scroll down, you can see the menu score for each of your respective outlets with the restaurant ID, location, city, and so on. Right? And you also have a quick snippet here to show you this column, percentage restaurants with a higher menu score in the area. And so obviously this is dummy data and the menu score is high, but for you, you will be able to get a picture of how your menu for each outlet is faring with regards to other restaurants in your area. And you have the various component scores, which I'll touch upon in the course of the webinar. So overall menu score out of 100 is a combination of all these 6 different parameter scores: category, item, image, description, add-ons, and combos, which I'll again cover in detail. Now scrolling further down, you have top recommendations, right? And we've, out of these 6 parameters, we've curated the top 3 recommendations for each restaurant based on that restaurant's menu and the maximum impact that you can have by acting upon these recommendations, right? So all you need to do is click here to get detailed recommendations for each outlet, or of course you can directly click on the restaurant level menu recommendation tab on the left. Now that will take you to the next page where you can select which outlet among the portfolio of outlets that you have. And you'll see, of course, your menu score on the top, the detailed parameter scores below, and the detailed recommendations across each of these parameters in the latter half of the page.
Got it. Got it. So there were questions from Hari Krishna, Tilangay, Mohammed, Nikhil on how is it that these insights or this dashboard in general help. So you mentioned about 6 parameters here, Shrikant, right? About how this score is determined and what are certain inputs that is taken when we're calculating the menu score dashboard. Can you walk us through these categories? Maybe in the recommendation section that you're showing us right now, could you start with the first category, which is on category and item score?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, the restaurant level menu recommendations tab will have detailed recommendations for the particular outlet that you've selected, right? So just going from the top, you get a snapshot of the parameter scores across the 6 parameters. The first 2 parameters that I'll be covering here are category score and item score, right? As you can see, category score is quite high at 95. Item score is less at 46. Right? So let me scroll down directly and jump into the recommendations. Okay. You have categories on the left and items on the right. Now, why do we have this differentiation between categories and items, right? So if you think about a menu, category is the first level of food grouping that you can have, right? Like for example, biryani is a category, fried rice is a category, noodles is a category. Items within the category is the next level of grouping. So for example, under biryani, you may have 10 to 15 different types of biryani. Those are all items, like your veg biryani, egg biryani, chicken biryani, and so on. So why we've separately categorized these recommendations is so that restaurants can understand based on their menu how they can improve their menu in both these fronts, right? So for this particular restaurant, if you look at the categories that the restaurant can add, it's pancake and cheesecake, right? And if the restaurant has a question of, okay, what pancakes and what cheesecakes do I add? We have those examples here as well, right? Now, at a overall level, how are these recommendations getting populated for each restaurant, right? The simple logic applied here is we want to suggest to the restaurant what are the best selling categories that are preferred by customers in similar restaurants that is perhaps missing in your restaurant's menu, right? So this is clearly a restaurant which has a lot of other, let's say, desserts and snacks sort of options. So customers prefer pancakes and cheesecakes in similar restaurants, and perhaps that's missing in your menu. Hence, we are suggesting that if you add pancake and cheesecake, that's something which customers may prefer. Similarly, coming to the table on the right, top items preferred by customers in existing categories. So this restaurant's menu actually already has cake and ice cream as a category. However, they are missing certain specific items or certain specific variants of cakes like chocolate cake, passion fruit cake, pineapple cake, and again, certain specific flavors of ice creams. So these are cakes and ice creams which are preferred by customers in similar restaurants, which are basically top selling or best selling items in similar restaurants in your city, of course, but it's something which is missing from your menu. Hence, these are top categories and items which can be added by this restaurant, right? And furthermore, if restaurants have a question of, why should I add these items? How much does it contribute to sales? So we've also added some extra information here, right? It's about 3 to 4% of sales is something which these missing categories contribute in other restaurants, right?
Got it. So this is quite insightful, right? Partners can actually, I think, with this dashboard, see what is the contribution of a category or an item that is probably missing on their menu. Interesting insight there, Shrikant. So we see another category in the same screen right now, which talks about images and description completeness. Could you walk us through that?
Yeah, absolutely. So these are the next two parameters which make a part of the menu score. It is essentially image and description completeness. What it means is, of course, what percentage, or it essentially based on how many items in your menu have images or descriptions. Now, I think in our earlier webinar, we already covered how important images are to your menu. It's one of the most important parameters to get more orders. Hence, you see it's an important dashboard as well, right? So, of course, what's new in this dashboard, right? We all know we need to add images. We know we need to add descriptions, right? We wanted to make it very targeted and specific for restaurants to understand the priority items which they should try to sort of add images and descriptions to first, right? So we've come up with this framework. Just to give you a good flavor, it takes into account not only item sales, it also takes into account frequently searched or top searched items, item order value, and a lot of different parameters. And hence, using this framework, we've prioritized those items which don't have images or those items which don't have descriptions in these two tables. So just to give you a snapshot, in this particular restaurant, they have around 85 items in the menu. I think they have images for about 52 images, 52 items, and none of the items actually have descriptions. So they still have a good number of items to add images and descriptions to. And the priority order is given in these two tables on the second and the third table, right? Another further insight which we are giving you here is similar restaurants in that particular city have 70% images and 60% descriptions. So that's another further target that we can give restaurants can even take to motivate themselves to even further add images and descriptions to ensure that they're on par with competition.
Got it. So partnerships essentially now get to see, an overview of how many images and descriptions a similar restaurant in that city would have. I think that's also valuable insight and resonates with the options partners had selected in the poll also. So interestingly, Shrikant, what we see is I saw a third category besides menu and descriptions and categories and item. There was a third category on add-ons and combos. Before you walk us through the dashboard, I'd like to understand, or rather, I would like you to explain to partners why is it important for a restaurant to even have add-ons and combos in the first place?
Yeah, I think that's something important for us to understand, right? So this is something which is perhaps a little unique to the online ordering world, right? So I'll start with add-ons first. So add-ons is something which can be given as an option or a variant and provides customers with some option to further customize or add something like a toppings or some extra item to with the objective of increasing the overall order value, which will of course help restaurants and benefit restaurants in that particular order. Right? So that's add-ons. Combos has probably a dual benefit. Of course, similar to add-ons, combos can obviously help restaurant in increasing their overall average order value or AOV, like we call it. And this is of course very beneficial to restaurants when customers place larger orders, right? The other benefit that combos also provides is it could also give a perception to customers of providing higher value. So you typically see that combo customers, the good percentage of customers do look for combos, and we've also established through our data that combos is also something which can improve conversions, which is increase the probability that a particular customer actually places an order. Right? So that's, I would say, the importance of add-ons and combos.
Great. So now that you said that, it actually brings a lot of relevance and to the menu, could you also walk us through the dashboard?
Yeah. So in the third tab, right? So I've just actually switched over to a slightly different cuisine so that we can better understand add-ons and combos. So just like a more Indian cuisine I've taken here. Right. So if you look at the third tab, right, the first three tables give you details on add-ons, right? So if you look at, just in brief, if you look at this table on the right, these are the typical, or rather, these are the top preferred add-ons for the various menu categories that your restaurant already has, right? So we are saying this restaurant has biryani. They should consider adding accompaniments like a chutney, dip, or a raita, salad, etc., as add-ons. Right? So this can be taken up as, and you of course have a lot of different options, right? You can even add the beverage as an add-on. We've given different options that the restaurant can consider, and all of these are of course ordered in terms of priority. Right? Specifically, if restaurant wants to know which particular item we can actually add an add-on to, right? So that's also given in the table below, along with the item ID. Right? So you can pick up this particular item and consider adding these types of items. That's given in this table. For recommendations on combos, scroll even further to the bottom half of the screen. You'll see the typical types of combos that are preferred. Right? So we see that this particular restaurant, being an Indian sort of a cuisine, right, has breads, has rice. So your combos, your typical best-selling combos that are present in other restaurants are Indian breads plus sides, obviously, or rice plus sides, right? And we have given you some indicative options of what are the breads like a naan or roti can be combined with sides like chicken fried, chili paneer, etc. Similarly, rice, the different fried rice or biryani items that the restaurant has can be combined with starters, right? And we've again, if you ask us how this has been computed and populated here, it's definitely based on what are those top selling or most important combos that are preferred by customers in similar restaurants in the city. Right? The table below the bottom left will also give you which items in each category may be best suited for combos. Right? So in fried rice, we suggest chicken fried rice and Szechuan fried rice being the top items which you can consider including in your combos. Right? And if you scroll all the way to the bottom, similar to your item and category recommendations, we also give you this info. Right? Similar restaurants have nearly 7% of their sales coming purely from combos. Right? So that's how important combos is for restaurants.
Got it. In addition to actually making menu quality much better, it also tells you where you stand and how the part or other restaurants doing in your area. I think that's really insightful, Shrikant, that comes from the dashboard. So currently, now that we're talking about these recommendations, right? The dashboard, each category gives you a recommendation. It tells you how many other partners are doing this. How often do these recommendations change, right? Are they real time today?
Yes. So the dashboard as such gets updated every week, right? So you'll, of course, if you made any menu change, you'll be able to see it in the following week. It gets refreshed every Monday or so. So as such, the dashboard is of a weekly refresh, right? Now, what we recommend to restaurants is you should sort of look at the dashboard for recommendations and your menu performance every time you make some menu change, right? So that's, I think, a good sort of cadence that all restaurants can sort of follow.
Got it. Got it. So we've seen n number of insights that the dashboard gives, right? And also recommendation, like you mentioned, is quite real time. Every time there's a change to the menu. So how can applying these insights actually help partners grow?
Yeah. So this sort of also ties back to why menu quality is really important, right? So the menu score dashboard has very targeted recommendations for across the different parameters which are important in a menu, right? And this is of course customized for each restaurant based on their individual menus, right? So of course, actioning these items will improve your menu score, which in turn will have two benefits, right? One benefit being it can improve conversions, which is essentially the probability that a customer lands on your menu actually places an order. And it can also have the second impact of boosting the overall value of the order, or the average order value that we call it, which again will benefit restaurants.
Got it. So, we had actually rolled out a registration form also with partners where we received a couple of questions, and Pritish in specific had asked this, saying, how can I see the metrics that are related to menu score dashboard, and how do I use that information to actually increase my business, get more customers? So, Pritish, if you joined the call today, I hope the entire insights that Srikanth has shared so far actually helped you and gave you some insights and details and answers to those questions. So Shrikant, we have identified a couple of questions from the registration form which were shared with partners, and we'd like to ask you those questions one by one and would request you to answer them. So the first question is by Shishir, who asks, saying, who is basically asking how to design combos in a snacks restaurant.
Got it. So by snacks restaurant, I'm assuming you have snacks something like samosa or chaat, etc. Right? So of course, for the detailed recommendations, you can look at your dashboard. But the typical, best-selling combo combination for these sort of restaurants is what we've seen. It is a combination of two category of snacks, right? If you have beverages, that's something which you can also make a combo of. And of course, I would sort of urge you to make multiple combinations with the best-selling items in each of these different snack categories or beverage categories.
Got it. Shishir, I hope that answers your question. The next question was similar and were asked by Ronak and Sandeep. So I'll read both of them out for you. What is the standard format of an online menu? The first part of the question. And the second is it good to keep only high performing menu items and remove the rest? Right. And the second part, which was asked by Sandeep, is which items to remove and which items to position as most popular?
Got it. So I think it's a good question, especially for those restaurants. A lot of restaurant partners do have their dine-in business and they're moving online, right? So I think this question has come up in a lot of cases. So I think as one of the key parameters of the menu score, and our analysis has shown, right? Category and item score is something which is very important, which basically means do you have all the best selling items and categories that are expected by customers? So it's quite natural that we see that customers actually expect a good variety of items, right? So I would not suggest that you just cut off items which are not performing well, and do look at the menu score dashboard in these two sections to get to get an understanding of what are the customer preferences in your particular city, and of course by customers who prefer similar restaurants in the same cuisine and so on.
Got it. So the next question is by Shivangi. This is, and not just Shivangi, there were multiple other partners who also asked this question. And the question is on the lines of how can we update a good product image on a menu today?
Got it. So very much, I think we have spoken about this last month, but just to reiterate, we do have an application called Shoot Easy, which is something which restaurants can download and use themselves to click pictures of items in their menu or even upload existing items, right? Shoot Easy is completely free for restaurants to use, just like the menu score dashboard. Again, completely free and available for all restaurants to use.
Got it. Shivangi, I hope that answers your question. Shoot is the way to go for good product images. The next question, Shrikant, is how do we increase visibility of the menu to organic and online customers? This was asked by Rajat.
So, increasing visibility, there are a lot of different ways to improve visibility of the menu, right? Since we are talking about menu here, I talk about it from a menu or an organic point of view, right? So, one of the best ways to improve visibility is work on menu quality, particularly things like images, right? So, you'll automatically find that once you sort of add more images, customers will start, noticing your item a lot more, right? A good image will, of course, improve visibility for your items and the menu. Of course, there are other elements to improve visibility like discounts, ads, etc., which I think will be covered in different webinars.
Right. So I think, Rajat, I hope that answers your question. Several elements of the dashboard, and like how Shrikant mentioned, good quality images are the way to go. Shrikant, with this, we've technically come to the end of the webinar today, and this has been an insightful conversation, understanding what the dashboard covers, what is it for partners, how can partners leverage these insights and recommendation and actually grow. Thanks a lot for taking time out and joining us today on Swiggy Catalyst and walking partners through this information.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Shweta. And just to sort of reiterate to everyone, the menu score dashboard is something which all of you can get access to free of cost. For those who have not perhaps received the email or who don't have access, please reach out to your Swiggy POC, or you can write a mail to pbi@restsupport.swiggy, and you will get access. Thank you so much.